The morning Nathan Blake fired me for accusing his boyfriend of treason, he did it with the same voice he would later use to beg me for help. Calm. Controlled. Final. Say that again, he said, standing behind his glass desk while Adrian Cole leaned against the window with one hand in his pocket, looking almost bored. My mouth was dry, but I pushed the printed access log across the desk anyway. Adrian used a restricted credential at 2:13 a.m. last night. The same minute the Meridian acquisition file was copied out of the secure drive. Nathan didn't look at the paper first. He looked at Adrian. That was the first thing that told me I was already losing. Adrian gave a soft laugh, like I had embarrassed myself at dinner instead of accusing him of selling the company's most confidential deal. Ethan, he said, gentle enough to sound kind. You've been working too many late nights. I hated that he used my name like a diagnosis. I tapped the second line of the log with my finger. This isn't stress. His access level shouldn't even touch this folder. And the camera outside the archive went black for exactly 4 minutes. Nathan finally looked down. For 1 second, his expression changed. Not much. Just a fracture in the cold, perfect mask. Then Adrian stepped closer, placed a hand on Nathan's arm, and said, "You told me your compliance analyst had been acting strange." The room went still. That sentence was not a defense. It was a knife sliding into a lock. Nathan's eyes lifted to mine, and the doubt in them had hardened into something worse. Judgment. "You accessed my private security review?" he asked. "No," I said. "I accessed the breach report because it's my job. Your job is not to stalk my personal life." The words hit harder because he didn't raise his voice. I had spent 2 years keeping his company clean. I had caught forged invoices, buried shell vendors, bribed consultants, and executives who smiled while stealing from him. I knew the shape of a lie before it opened its mouth, and Adrian Cole was standing beside him wearing one. "This isn't personal," I said, forcing myself not to look away. "He's connected to the leak." Adrian's face softened with perfect pain. "Nathan, please. I don't want to do this." That was when I saw it. Not fear, not anger, not surprise. Relief. He had been waiting for me to say enough that Nathan would have to choose. Nathan straightened, and the man who had once trusted my reports more than his own board turned into the so everyone else feared. "Your badge," he said. I blinked. "What?" "Put your badge on the desk." The room tilted, but I reached for the plastic card clipped to my jacket. My fingers felt numb as I set it beside the access log. The small sound it made against the glass was humiliatingly soft. "You are suspended pending review," Nathan said. Then Adrian's hand tightened on his arm, and Nathan corrected himself. "No. Effective immediately, you're terminated." For a second, I forgot how to breathe. Adrian lowered his eyes, but the corner of his mouth moved. Just once. A tiny victory he thought no one saw. Security came in less than a minute later. That meant Nathan had already pressed the silent call button before he finished firing me. They took my laptop. They took my phone. They took the folder with my printed evidence, but not before I saw Nathan slide the access log under his palm, hiding Adrian's name from the guards like he could still protect him from the truth. "You're making a mistake," I said. Nathan's jaw tightened. The mistake was letting this obsession get this far. There it was. Not fired for incompetence. Not fired for proof. Fired because I had accused the man he loved. The elevator ride down felt longer than any interrogation I had ever sat through. My reflection stared back from the brass doors, pale, stunned, empty-handed. When I reached the lobby gate, I pressed my badge against the scanner out of habit. The screen flashed red. Access denied. The guard wouldn't meet my eyes. I stepped aside, swallowing the burn in my throat, and that was when the private elevator opened behind me. Adrian walked out alone. No guard. No escort. No shame. He crossed to the executive exit, lifted a black access card I had never seen before, and tapped it once against the reader. The screen turned green under a name that was not his. Nathan Blake, Master Access. I didn't move until the gate closed behind Adrian with a soft, obedient click. The green light stayed on the scanner for 2 seconds after he passed, bright enough to burn the name into my eyes. Nathan Blake, Master Access. Adrian didn't look back. He didn't need to. He had walked out of the building wearing the power of the man who had just destroyed me, and the system had welcomed him like it belonged to him. My first instinct was to run back to the elevator, to shove the guard aside and force Nathan to see it. But my badge was dead. My laptop was gone. My evidence was in Nathan's office under his palm. All I had left was what I had seen, and after today, my word was worth nothing inside Blake Horizon. The guard cleared his throat. Sir, you need to leave the lobby. Sir. Like politeness could make Exile feel clean. I stepped into the rain without an umbrella, carrying one cardboard box security had packed for me. A mug, 2 pens, a cracked phone charger, and the framed commendation Nathan had given me 6 months earlier for preventing a vendor fraud scheme. Integrity under pressure, the plaque said. I almost laughed. Halfway down the block, my personal phone vibrated in my coat pocket. I had forgotten I still had it. The screen showed an automated alert from the company's identity protection system, one I had set up for myself after a phishing scare last year. Login successful. E.Miller/archive node 7/10:46 a.m. I stopped so fast someone cursed behind me and shoved past. 10:46. I checked the time. 10:49. 3 minutes ago. After I had been fired. After my badge had gone red. After my laptop had been confiscated. My account was inside the archive. My dead account was alive. I ducked beneath the awning of a closed tailor shop and opened the alert with shaking fingers. The device ID was unfamiliar. The location was internal. Executive floor. I stared at the words until the rain blurred them. This was not just someone stealing data. Someone was wearing me now. If the Meridian files moved again, the trail would lead straight to the analyst Nathan had publicly fired for making a false accusation. It was elegant, cruel, perfect. First, make me look unstable. Then remove my access. Then use my name after I was gone. I tried to call Nathan. The call failed before it rang. Blocked by corporate security. I tried his assistant. Same result. My name had been cut out of the building's bloodstream. Another alert came through. File transfer initiated. Meridian_diligence_addendum. Destination, external encrypted relay. My stomach went cold. The addendum had not been part of the original leak. It contained the board's internal objections, the one document that could destroy the acquisition if a competitor got it first. I opened my cloud notes, praying the quick backup I kept for compliance timestamps had synced before my laptop was taken. Most of the folder was empty, wiped remotely by policy. But one note survived because I had mistyped the tag and saved it outside the work container. A single line from last night, 2:13 a.m., archive camera blackout, AC proximity badge active, master credential shadow. Master credential shadow. I hadn't known what it meant when I wrote it. Now I did. Adrian had not simply borrowed Nathan's card. The system had recorded Nathan's authority bending around Adrian like a false halo. My phone buzzed again, but this time it was not an automated alert. It was an email from an address made of random numbers, no subject, no signature. Attached was a small text file named level.txt. I should have deleted it. I should have gone to a lawyer, to the police, to anyone with a title strong enough to make Blake Horizon listen. Instead, I opened it. 4 words appeared on the screen first. You were right, Ethan. Then another line loaded beneath it, slower, like the message wanted me to feel every second before the floor dropped. But you accused the wrong level. A third alert flashed across the top of my screen before I could breathe. Login successful. E.Miller/legal hold system. Then the final line appeared in red. Internal investigation opened. Subject, Ethan Miller. The legal hold notice did not say I was suspected. It did not have to. My name sat under subject in clean black letters, followed by a list of things I was forbidden to delete, move, forward, or discuss. Files I no longer had. Devices. Security had taken. Access I no longer possessed. They were building a cage around an empty space and calling at me. I saved screenshots of everything to my personal cloud, then copied them again to an old external drive I kept in my apartment for tax documents. If Blake Horizon wanted to turn me into a ghost with fingerprints, I needed proof I was still breathing somewhere outside their system. The next alert came 20 minutes later, not from the company, but from the financial press. Meridian acquisition faces possible delay after confidential board concerns surface. I read the headline twice before the meaning landed. The addendum had leaked. Not attempted. Not intercepted. Leaked. Whoever had used my account had done more damage in the hour after I was fired than the original breach had done in a week. Then my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost ignored it until a text appeared beneath it. Pick up if you want to know what they're saying about you. I answered without speaking. At first, there was only muffled sound, the low thunder of voices in a room too large for comfort. Then Nathan's voice cut through, sharper than I had ever heard it. Ethan Miller no longer had active access at the time of the second transfer. My hand tightened around the phone. Someone had put me inside the board meeting as a shadow. A woman answered, cold and precise. The system says otherwise. Then the system was manipulated, Nathan said. The silence after that was different. Not disbelief exactly. Fear. Adrian's voice entered softly, almost tender. Nathan, you're under pressure. Don't let him do this to you twice. Ethan knew the archive better than anyone. If he left something behind before you terminated him, he was escorted out, Nathan said. His devices were taken. And yet his account moved the file. Adrian let the words settle like poison. Maybe that was always the plan. I should have felt satisfied that Nathan was defending me, even a little. I didn't. He was not defending me because he believed me. He was defending the shape of his own mistake. The call clicked dead before anyone said more. My screen went black, and in the reflection I saw myself. Standing in my kitchen with rain still drying on my collar, listening to strangers decide whether I was a criminal. I opened the surviving note again. 2:13 a.m. Archive camera blackout. AC proximity badge active. Master credential shadow. There had been another line below it in my original report. I remembered typing it because my fingers had hesitated before I wrote Nathan's name. CEO authorization anomaly overlaps, AC movement. In the version Nathan had held under his palm, that line should have been there. If he was only seeing my report now, and if that line was gone, then someone had altered the document before it reached him. My phone buzzed with a new email from the random number address. No message this time, just an image attachment. It was a screenshot of my own report inside Blake Horizon's system. My stomach turned before I opened it fully. The first lines were intact. Timestamp. Archive node. Camera blackout. Adrian Cole proximity badge active. Then there was a blank space where the authorization anomaly should have been, a clean missing tooth in the middle of the page. Below the blank space was a comment I had never written. Analyst appears emotionally compromised due to inappropriate fixation on AC. The initials sat there like a stain. Not a mistake. Not a misunderstanding. A manufactured motive. My accusation had not just been rejected. It had been pre-poisoned before Nathan ever heard it. A second image loaded beneath the first. This one was from Nathan's side of the system, a redlined audit history opened under executive review. Someone in his office had finally compared the report versions. The deletion was highlighted. The comment was flagged. And at the top of the page, Nathan Blake's cursor hovered over the missing line as if his hand had frozen there. For the first time all day, I imagined him not as the man behind the desk, firing me, but as the man staring at the empty space where the truth had been cut out. Then the unknown sender typed one final message. He's reading the real version now. When he calls, make him say why he needs you. The call came 7 minutes after the message, from a number I knew by memory because I had spent 2 years routing emergencies to it and never once using it for myself. Nathan's private line. I let it ring until the last second, not because I wanted power, but because my hand refused to move toward the man who had made security take my badge like I had stolen something. When I answered, neither of us spoke at first. I could hear breathing on the other end, controlled badly enough to tell me he was not in his office anymore. Ethan, Nathan said. My name sounded different without accusation wrapped around it. Are you safe? That was almost enough to make me hang up. That's your first question? The silence changed shape. It should have been my first question earlier. I closed my eyes for 1 second, then opened them because I did not trust softness from him anymore. Why are you calling? Because the report I received was altered. There it was. Not an apology. Not yet. A fact. I made him stand inside it. Say the rest. He exhaled through his nose. The deleted line mentioned an authorization anomaly connected to my credentials. And Adrian. Another pause. Shorter this time. And Adrian. Hearing his name in Nathan's mouth without defense around it sent a cold pulse through me. I need the original pattern, Nathan said. The timestamps, the archive behavior, anything you remember before your access was cut. You have a whole security department. They're compromised or blind. You have Adrian. The line went so quiet I could hear rain tapping my kitchen window. That was cruel, he said. No, I answered. Cruel was firing me while he smiled. Nathan did not deny it. That mattered more than any apology he could have rushed out. I was wrong to terminate you, he said. But I am not calling to offer your job back like that fixes what I did. I am calling because Meridian's board has frozen the deal. My directors want a scapegoat by morning, and every road they're being shown leads to you. I need your help to stop that. The word need sat between us, heavy and useful. Ask properly. His breath caught. Good. Ethan, he said, slower now, stripped of CEO polish. Please help me catch whoever is using your name and my authority to destroy this company. I hated how much I had wanted to hear him sound powerless. I hated more that it was not enough. 3 conditions, I said. First, you send me a written statement confirming I was terminated before the second transfer. Second, you give me read-only access to the audit trail, not filtered screenshots. Third, Adrian does not know I'm helping. Done. Too fast. Nathan, I mean it. His voice dropped. I will send it myself. Not through legal. Not through Adrian. Myself. A minute later, the statement arrived with his digital signature. I saved it in 3 places before I opened the access link that followed. The login page recognized my old employee ID, but when the 2-factor prompt appeared, my stomach tightened. The device listed for approval was not mine. It was marked Executive Floor Temp Terminal. Don't approve anything, I said. I'm not touching it, Nathan replied immediately. The prompt vanished. Then a new authorization appeared, manually issued from Nathan's live console. This time, I entered through a restricted audit viewer, a place I had only seen from across conference tables when security wanted compliance to stay quiet. Folders loaded one by one. Archive Node 7, Legal Hold System, Executive Override Log, Badge Restoration History. My name was everywhere. Too everywhere. The traitor had not made one mistake. They had built a road out of my identity and invited everyone to follow it. Open badge history, Nathan said. His voice was closer now, sharper, as if he was looking at the same screen from somewhere dark. I clicked. The first entry showed my access revoked at 9:18 a.m., exactly after the firing. The second showed temporary restoration at 10:41 a.m., 5 minutes before the login alert that had turned me into a suspect. That's impossible, Nathan said. I restored you just now. Then someone restored me before you knew you needed me. I moved the cursor over the authorization column, and the system expanded the signature source. My pulse went still. The restoration had not come from security, not from legal, not from Adrian's profile. It had been approved under Nathan's master credential 11 hours ago, while he was supposedly asleep, before I ever walked into his office, before I ever accused his boyfriend, before he ever fired me. Nathan's voice came through the phone, low and shaken. Ethan, I didn't do that. On my screen, beneath the timestamp, a hidden note field blinked open with 2 words attached to the pre-approved restoration order. Remove him. Remove him. The words were not in a message thread. They were not in an email someone could deny. They sat inside the hidden note field of a pre-approved access restoration order issued under Nathan's master credential 11 hours before he fired me. I stared at them until they stopped looking like instructions and started looking like a timeline. Restore my access before the accusation. Wait for me to walk into Nathan's office. Let him fire me. Then use the restored access after my badge went dead. Ethan, Nathan said, but his voice sounded far away now, like he was speaking from the bottom of an elevator shaft. Tell me what you're seeing. A plan, I said, not a reaction. My cursor moved to the audit expansion. The restoration order had 3 dependency tags attached to it. One was my employee ID. One was Nathan's master credential. The third was abbreviated, AC Prox confirmed. I clicked it before Nathan could say anything. A proximity record opened from the executive residence elevator, 11:52 p.m. the night before. Adrian Cole's private access chip had entered Nathan's penthouse level 40 seconds before the master credential order was created. 40 seconds. Long enough to stand beside him. Long enough to use a device already logged in. Long enough to make it look like Nathan had approved a command while half asleep, distracted, or trusting the wrong hand near the wrong screen. Nathan went silent. This time, the silence did not feel like denial. It felt like something breaking in him without permission. He was there, I said. Adrian was physically near your credential when the order was created. That doesn't prove he initiated it. His answer came fast, but weakly. The old reflex, trying to save the old belief. I opened the camera archive tied to the elevator. The clip loaded for 2 seconds, then froze. On gray static. Camera blackout. Same pattern as archive node 7. Same clean 4-minute absence. No, I said. But it proves someone knew exactly when to erase him from the frame. Nathan inhaled once, sharp enough that the phone caught it. I could almost see him looking at the man he had defended, the man whose hand had rested so easily on his arm while my career ended. Keep going, he said. That was the first real shift. Not an order. Not even a request. Permission to lead. I pulled the altered report beside the badge history and lined up the timestamps. The missing line in my report had flagged a CEO authorization anomaly. The pre-restoration order had been created under Nathan's credential before I accused Adrian. The second leak had used my identity after I was fired. Each piece pointed to a simple truth that made my skin go cold. My termination had not been the fallout of my accusation. My accusation had been bait for my termination. They didn't just want me gone, I said. They needed you to be the one who did it. Nathan did not answer. I heard a door close on his end, then the soft click of a lock. When he spoke again, his voice had lost its corporate steel. I let them use me. The words should have satisfied me. They didn't. They landed too late, and still not deep enough. You gave them more than access, I said. You gave them my motive. You made me look bitter, unstable, obsessed. You signed the story they needed before they wrote the crime. A notification pulsed on the audit viewer before he could respond. Archive search complete. Term remove him. One result. I opened it. It was not from Nathan's system. It was a deleted internal chat fragment recovered from backup indexing, sender hidden behind an executive relay. The message was short. Remove him first. AC can keep Nathan blind until transfer window. Adrian's initials were not a guess anymore. They were in the chain. But the sentence did not make him sound like the hand holding the knife. It made him sound like the blindfold. AC can keep Nathan blind, I read aloud. Nathan made a sound I had never heard from him before. Not anger. Not grief. Recognition. He's involved, he said. Yes. My throat tightened around the word, because this was the moment I had needed in his office, before the badge, before security, before my name became a weapon. But he isn't the top. I clicked the relay path. Most of it was stripped, but one metadata field remained because backup indexing had captured it before deletion. Origin access class. Executive trust circle. Not boyfriend access. Not compliance. Not security floor. Someone close enough to Nathan's authority to use it, but careful enough to hide behind Adrian's intimacy. Nathan said my name once, low and ruined. I did not soften. Not yet. Now you understand why they wanted me fired. A new calendar entry appeared in the recovered thread, scheduled for midnight under Nathan's electronic signature. Final Meridian transfer, board approval package. Midnight, Nathan said, and for the first time since he called me, panic sharpened the edge of his voice. That gives us less than 6 hours. No, I said, already dragging the recovered calendar entry into a separate evidence folder. It gives them less than 6 hours to make you sign away the company and blame me for opening the door. The board approval package was not a file yet. It was a scheduled shell, waiting for someone to fill it, seal it under Nathan's electronic signature, and push it through the Meridian transfer window. If it went out clean, the acquisition would collapse before sunrise. If it went out dirty, the investigation would find my restored access wrapped around the crime scene like a ribbon. Nathan's breathing steadied. Tell me what you need. That should not have mattered. It did. Not because I trusted him, but because he had stopped asking what he should do and started asking what I saw. I opened the leak history, the altered report, the restored badge entry, and the deleted chat fragment side by side. The pattern was ugly, but it was there. Every breach happened after a personal rupture around Nathan. A fight with Adrian. A private schedule change. A board dispute. My accusation. The traitor did not strike when the system was weakest. They struck when Nathan was emotionally distracted enough to authorize something without questioning the hand guiding him. They need conflict, I said. They wait until you're off balance. Then use your trust circle to move the file. Then we give them conflict. No. We give them a reason to believe you, and I are still divided. I could hear him understand the cost before he spoke. You want me to make you look disposable again. My jaw tightened. I want them to think the first frame still worked. Silence. Then, softer, Ethan, if you apologize now, if you clear my name now, they disappear. If you protect me too obviously, they change methods. We need a file only the traitor will want, and we need them to open it believing I'm the perfect fall guy. I created a dummy board package using the shell's naming structure, then embedded a harmless tracking marker inside a fake Meridian addendum. Not malware, not illegal, just an audit beacon that would record the first credential chain to touch it outside the approved viewer. Nathan watched from the live console while I built it. He did not interrupt once. That was new. The old Nathan would have taken over because command was easier than faith. This Nathan stayed quiet and let the fired analyst design the only path he had left. What do we call it? He asked. I looked at the scheduled transfer title and changed one word. Final_Meridian_transfer_revised. They'll think you corrected the package after discovering the deleted line, I said. They'll want to see what changed before midnight. And Adrian? He gets a glimpse. Not the file. The temptation. Nathan's voice cooled. You want me to let him near me. I want you to let him think he still can. The words hung between us, cruel because they were true. A minute later, Nathan forwarded a controlled message into his executive channel. Ethan Miller remains under investigation. Do not engage. Meridian revision under personal review. It was the kind of message that protected no one and provoked everyone. My name looked poisonous in his inbox. I hated seeing it there. I hated more that it was necessary. Within 11 minutes, the dummy file received its first view attempt. Not opened, just pinged. Someone had searched the exact title from inside the executive floor. Then a second ping came through a relay tied to the legal hold system. My legal hold system. They're circling, Nathan said. Not enough. I added one more change to the dummy file metadata, prepared by E. Miller. Nathan saw it and went still. No, yes. That makes you the target. I already am. The file sat there for 43 seconds. Then the audit beacon flashed gold. Open request initiated. I leaned closer to the screen, pulse hammering. The credential chain began to populate. Viewer relay, executive trust layer, temporary restored badge, archive node 7. Then the source field loaded, and every part of me went cold. E. Miller, active access. Nathan swore under his breath. That's impossible. You're remote. You're in read-only. The beacon refreshed again, deeper this time, polling location. The request had not come from my apartment. It had not come from Nathan's console. It came from inside Blake Horizon, through the same restored identity someone had built before my firing. The final line appeared beneath the trace, clean and damning enough to destroy me twice. File opened using Ethan Miller badge, Executive Floor Terminal 3. Executive Floor Terminal 3. The words stayed on the screen like a sentence already handed down. Before I could breathe, a red banner cut across the audit viewer. Priority security escalation. Unauthorized Meridian access confirmed. My name followed it. My badge followed it. My restored identity followed it. The trap had not caught the traitor. It had snapped shut around me. Nathan moved first. I heard keys strike hard on his side of the line. Then his voice, no longer shaken, only cold. I'm freezing that terminal. Don't. The word left me faster than thought. If you freeze it now, they'll say I panicked and you tried to cover for me. They are already saying worse. Another notification loaded. Legal hold status updated. Subject escalated to internal theft review. My stomach turned hollow. This was not suspicion anymore. This was a paper trail with my name on every page. A second window opened on Nathan's console, shared to my screen without warning. Live security feed. Executive floor. Terminal 3. Sat at the end of a glass-walled workstation bay. Empty chair pushed slightly back. Monitor glowing blue. No person in frame. No face. No hand. Just my badge access stamped into the system like a fingerprint left by a ghost. The camera caught nothing, Nathan said. Of course it didn't, I whispered. It never does when they need it not to. Then the board channel began to fill. I saw the messages as Nathan's access mirrored them. Remove Miller from any active review. Preserve CEO communications. Notify outside counsel. One line landed harder than the rest. If Blake authorized Miller's return, Blake may be compromised. There it was. The second frame was bigger than me. If Nathan protected me now, they would use me to cut him down too. Adrian appeared in the channel seconds later, not with accusation, but with concern polished so smooth it looked generous. Nathan, Please step back from this. He's manipulating your guilt. The old wound opened exactly where it had been placed the first time. Same shape, same blade. Ethan is emotionally invested. Ethan had motive. Ethan knew the archive. Ethan wanted revenge. I waited for Nathan to hesitate. I hated myself for waiting. I hated that some part of me still expected the silence before the sentence. Say something, I said, and my voice cracked on the last word before I could stop it. Nathan did not answer me. He answered them. His reply appeared in the board channel one word at a time. Ethan Miller is under my protection pending verified forensic review. Do not touch him. For a moment, I could not hear the rain outside my window or the hum of my refrigerator or even my own breathing. He had chosen differently. Not privately. Not safely. In writing. In front of the same people who wanted my name delivered to legal by midnight. Then Adrian called him. The incoming call flashed across the shared console. Nathan did not pick up. He rejected it. Adrian called again. Nathan rejected it again. A third message arrived instead. If you keep defending him, I can't help you. Nathan's jaw must have tightened, because when he spoke, his voice had gone flat enough to cut glass. He thinks I still need him more than the truth. You did this morning. The words were cruel, but they were also the only bridge I had left to stand on. I know, Nathan said. No defense. No correction. That was the closest he had come to touching the wound without trying to own it. I forced myself back to the screen. Emotion would not save me. Proof might. The file access record from Terminal 3 showed my badge, my restored session, my employee ID, but under the audit beacon there were sub-events the forged log had not hidden because no one outside compliance ever looked at them. Cursor hesitation. Preview request. Cancel. Reopen. Download attempt. My skin prickled. I had seen that rhythm before. In the archive logs from the first leak. In the legal hold ping. In the restored badge search. Open. Pause. Close. Reopen. Not efficient. Not automated. Human. Familiar. Adrian did it when he reviewed documents beside Nathan. He always opened a file once to skim the title page, closed it as if bored, then reopened it only after deciding it mattered. A tiny vanity habit. A performance of indifference before taking what he wanted. Nathan, I said, dragging the old logs beside the new one. They faked my badge, but they didn't fake his hand. What do you mean? I highlighted the repeated sequence until the screen showed the same pattern across every breach. Preview. Pause. Close. Reopen. Transfer. This is Adrian's tell. Nathan went silent, but this time I did not let him process it slowly. There was no time left for grief. If we keep chasing hidden logs, they'll bury us in fake evidence. The only proof they can't rewrite is behavior in front of witnesses. The board channel flashed again. Emergency review in 30 minutes. Miller evidence to be presented. I looked at those words and felt the shape of the choice before I said it. Let them present it, I said, and put Adrian in the room with the real file. Let them present it, I said again, before fear could make me sound uncertain. Nathan's reflection appeared faintly in the shared screen as he turned toward the conference room camera, his face carved hollow by the blue light. If we walk into that review defensively, they control the story. If they accuse me, I explain. If they accuse you, you defend. That is exactly what they want. Then what do you want? He asked. I want them to think I came to beg. The words tasted bitter enough to steady me. I want Adrian to watch me look desperate, and I want him to believe the only thing between him and victory is one file he cannot resist opening. Nathan's eyes lifted toward the camera. That puts you in the room as the target. I've been the target since you fired me. He flinched. I did not soften it. This time, I choose where I stand. 30 minutes later, I entered Blake Horizon through a side security entrance under temporary escort, not as an employee, not as a consultant, but as evidence. Every gate I passed stayed red until Nathan's live authorization overrode it. Access denied. Override granted. Access denied. Override granted. Each flash felt like the building arguing with itself over whether I had the right to exist inside it. Nathan waited outside the boardroom, holding the badge security had taken from me that morning. The plastic card looked smaller in his hand than I remembered. You don't have to do this, he said. Yes, I answered. I do. I took the badge from him, but I did not clip it on. I carried it into the boardroom and placed it in the center of the long table where everyone could see the name printed across it. Ethan Miller. Adrian sat 2 seats from Nathan, composed, pale in a way that tried to look wounded. His eyes flicked to the badge, then to me, then away. Too fast. The board chair began with my name, then the file access report, then the accusation that my restored badge had opened the dummy Meridian package from Executive Floor Terminal 3. I let her finish. I let them put the noose on the table. Then I said, "That report is real." The room shifted. Nathan's head turned sharply toward me, but he did not interrupt. That was his part now. Silence, trust, restraint. My badge was used, I continued. My employee ID opened the file. My access trail was built to make every person in this room believe I came back to finish what I supposedly started. Adrian leaned back slightly, the first mistake of relief moving through his shoulders. "But the file you're showing them is not the real trap," I said. The board chair frowned. "Mr. Miller, open the revised package." Nathan's counsel objected. The security director said the file was contaminated. Adrian's mouth tightened before anyone else understood why. I looked only at him. "Let him open it." The room froze around the sentence. Nathan did not ask who I meant. He turned to Adrian and slid the conference tablet across the polished table. "You said you wanted transparency," Nathan said softly. "Open it." Adrian's laugh came half a second too late. "Nathan, this is absurd." "Then prove it." For the first time, Adrian looked at me with hatred naked enough to be useful. He touched the tablet like it had offended him. The file icon waited on the screen. Final_Meridian_transfer revised. He tapped once. Preview. The title page flashed. He paused, board mask in place. Closed it. My pulse struck once hard. He reopened it. There. The audit beacon, mirrored to the boardroom wall under Nathan's authorization, began writing the sequence live. Preview request. Pause. Close. Reopen. Access token handshake. Adrian realized too late that the screen behind him was no longer showing the accusation against me. It was showing him. "That proves nothing," he snapped. "It proves habit," I said, and pulled up the breach comparison. For windows appeared side by side. The archive leak, the legal hold ping, the restored badge frame, and the live boardroom access. Same sequence. Same pause length. Same reopen pattern. Adrian's face went blank. Not innocent blank. Calculation blank. "The badge was mine," I said, picking it up from the table. The behavior was his. Nathan stood then, but not in front of me. Beside me. The difference moved through the room like a door unlocking. "Continue," he said. I clicked the final command I had built into the file before entering the room. Source expansion. The live beacon stripped away the fake badge layer, then the temporary restored ID, then the executive relay. Adrian's access chip appeared first. That resolved the lie he had worn all day. But beneath it, another authorization line pulsed, larger, older, and more dangerous. Executive. Trust circle, origin masked. The boardroom went silent. Adrian knocked the tablet back as if distance could erase the record. Nathan's voice was low. "Who gave you that relay?" Adrian looked at him, and for the first time, there was no softness left to hide behind. I placed my dead badge flat on the table between them and said, "Now we stop asking who fired me for telling the truth. Now everyone watches who try to bury it." The boardroom did not erupt. That would have been easier. Instead, everyone went quiet in the way powerful people go quiet when the story they plan to believe begins turning against them. Nathan kept his eyes on Adrian, but I watched the wall screen, because evidence did not flinch. The masked authorization line pulsed once, waiting for the next command. "Expand the relay," I said. The security director moved before anyone else did. Just one step toward the console, one hand lifting as if to stop a technical error. Nathan saw it too. "Do not touch that system." The man froze. For the first time all day, someone besides me looked afraid. I clicked source expansion. The relay peeled open layer by layer. Temporary badge restoration, legal hold bridge, executive trust channel, master credential shadow. Then the final origin appeared beneath it, no longer masked because Adrian's live access had forced the relay to authenticate in front of witnesses. Security Director Override Key, Malcolm Reed. The room finally broke. Voices rose, chairs shifted, counsel demanded copies. The board chair ordered Reed away from the table. Reed's face lost all color. "That is not, don't," Nathan said. One word, and the man shut his mouth. I pulled up the chain one final time, not fast enough to confuse them, not slow enough to let anyone rewrite it. Reed had used Adrian's proximity to Nathan to create the master credential shadow. Adrian had kept Nathan emotionally blind, feeding him the version of me that looked jealous, unstable, obsessed. Reed had deleted the line in my report, planted the comment about my fixation, restored my badge before I was fired, and used my dead access to move the Meridian files after security took my devices. The anonymous file from outside the building had not come from a savior. Its metadata matched Reed's own backup index. A fragment kicked loose when he tried to delete the chat too quickly. "You were right," I said, reading the line from the recovered message on the wall. "But you accused the wrong level." I turned to Adrian. I accused the door. Reed was the hand behind it. Adrian stood, so suddenly his chair struck the floor. "Nathan, I didn't know all of it." That was the first honest thing he had said all day, and it saved him from nothing. Nathan looked at him as if the shape of him had finally become visible. "But you knew enough." The live record showed it. Adrian's chip beside Nathan's credential, Adrian opening the files, Adrian forwarding previews through the trust layer, Adrian helping make my accusation look personal so Nathan would destroy the only witness Reed feared. Outside counsel moved in then. Not dramatically, not with handcuffs, but with the clean efficiency of people who knew careers were ending in real time. Reed's access was terminated on the wall. Adrian's followed 2 seconds later. The Meridian transfer shell was frozen, the stolen package invalidated. The board notified that the approval attempt had been compromised from inside the executive trust circle. The danger that had been wearing my name collapsed under its own proof. But I did not feel free yet. Not until Nathan picked up my badge from the table. The same badge security had taken. The same badge that had gone red in the lobby. The same badge they had used to make me look guilty. He held it for a moment, then placed it in front of me with both hands, like a verdict being returned. I did not reach for it. Nathan understood. His shoulders lowered, not in defeat, but surrender. He turned away from me and faced the board, counsel, security, every witness in the room. Ethan Miller was fired because I refused to believe the only person brave enough to tell me the truth. No one moved. He kept going, and every word stripped another layer from the lie he had helped build. He was not unstable. He was not jealous. He was not compromised. He warned me, and I punished him for it. Then when the people I trusted used his name to attack this company, he came back and saved it anyway. I was wrong. His voice changed on the last sentence, quieter, harder to survive. "I should have believed you." The wound did not vanish. Wounds like that did not obey apologies, even public ones. But something inside me stopped bracing for the next blow. The room knew. The record knew. The company knew. I had not begged for my job. I had not begged to be believed. I had dragged the truth back into the room that locked me out and made everyone look at it. I picked up the badge at last, felt the worn edge against my thumb, and walked to the boardroom door. The scanner beside it blinked red out of old habit. I tapped the card once. This time, the light turned green.